You take all of the cool, fun social elements that we've built in the Calaxy social experience, and we've packaged that and gave that to anyone that could run a community of their own.
All right, so today I have a couple of my favorite people in the Hedera space, and that's Only LARPing from Karate Combat, and I also have Solo from Calaxy. Guys, welcome.
What's up?
What's up?
Not too much on my side, but you guys have some pretty cool stuff that's going on. I know Karate Combat has a pretty big event that's coming up, and Calaxy is going to be sharing some pretty exciting stuff today. Solo, to start, where do you see SocialFi going, and can you tell us how Calaxy's planning on capitalizing on it?
Yeah, absolutely. We're super bullish SocialFi, as you can imagine. When we see SocialFi as one of the best user acquisition strategies into the world of Web3. And so what we're super excited about is really bringing that real life activity on chain and finding ways to do that in contained spaces. What's really exciting about, Web3 technologies doesn't necessarily even have to do with all the on-chain aspects, but the decentralized principles. We could build a new sort of federated ecosystem around people's own communities and their own ideas versus this current model that we have where we have centralized platforms, where we have a centralized feed where we're all vying for the same attention vacuum. We want to build a universe, this federated universe where Calaxy sort of sits in the middle of that and really gives you the power to go from universe to universe. And so with somebody like Karate Combat or, any large brand creator or anybody, no matter how big or small, being able to give those tools of community, not only community governments, but also community mobilization and ability to interact and engage with the community in that contained space without having to worry about getting deplatformed or keeping your content relevant to the algorithm, really allows for that social experience to kind of be, we can all be together in the same place, but also have our places to congregate separately.
So from a user's perspective, what does that look like? These independent, federated, as you said, communities. What's that going to look like as far as the interaction?
Yeah, we've seen that across the world. For us, I guess I just spoil it. We are going to be introducing Worlds, or we introduced Worlds. So from a user experience standpoint, the way we'd really liken it is, for your degens out there, if you've seen Rick and Morty, I would analogize Calaxy and your Calaxy wallet as your portal gun. And your portal gun allows you to jump from universe to universe, right? Just like in the show. And so one universe, you take all of the cool, fun, social elements that we've built in the Calaxy social experience, and we've packaged that and gave that to anyone that could run a community of their own. And so what Calaxy becomes is that sort of credential to go from world to world, and each of these worlds could have different access settings depending on who you might be. So if you're in an NFT project, you might have an NFT gated portal so that you can't get in unless you have an NFT in your wallet. So you need your passport, but also your passport needs to have some sort of credential on top of it. So when you really think about, identifying or adding these layers of on-chain identity attributes, tying that to the social experience, one of the things that crypto does really well is, it's a group of communities. Tribalism, in and out culture is so big. So being able to allow people to create those contained spaces where they can, really connect over the ideas and, topics that really matter to them is really key. And so that's what the user experience really looks like from that perspective.
That makes a ton of sense. Now, one of the communities that's growing faster than most of them out there is Karate Combat. Only LARPing, what's Karate Combat's strategy to build that community and your ever-evolving fan base?
The core of the strategy is really, focused around the live events, right? Karate Combat is a sports league. You've got this big build up, people watching in person and millions watching at home. And then you got the aftermath of it. And so that's got to be the core of it. But then around that, we're extraordinarily active on social media. Karate Combat is sort of social media first, right? That's how we grew our fan base. That's how we grew our community. And yeah, that's what we do.
So a big part of that has been influencers and bringing their communities in. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. So this is one of the fun experiments we ran this year. It's been a long, crazy year, but in February we launched something called the Influencer Fight Club, and it was a unique opportunity that came up. Cryptos R Us approached us with a full card of fights and said, "Hey, you want to try this out?" We're like, "Hell yeah, we do," and it worked really well. Turns out Karate Combat is an incredible kind of rule set for influencer fighting for a number of reasons. So I think that really kind of catalyzed the influencer community, because you had, I don't know, we've had at least like 30 of them fight in karate combat. And I think even better than Up Only Gaming, actually stepping into the pit is probably the best way to become a super fan of the league.
Well, there's no question about that. One of the things around the influencers, getting them into the pit is amazing, but it's not just in the pit. They're really active around the pit as well. Do you try to promote that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we've got, kind of the best viewing experience in live sports, in my opinion, which is pit side, hanging over the edge of the pit. And everybody's hitting me up for those pit side seats. And so it's not too hard to convince influencers to come and hang out, have a good time, post a bunch of clips with the right seats.
Pretty much it's clear to the audience where this is probably going. Solo, can you let us know how we're going to be bringing these two strategies together?
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're super excited. We've had the opportunity to work with Karate Combat, a few times on some activations for the community. One thing that we do well is, we build social applications that are nice and easy to onboard communities. And so we're super excited about the concept of KC Social in partnership with you, HBAR Bull, to run it from a community standpoint, which could really be another online community, really excited and energized around the sport and the league that the Karate Combat team has built, and the culture that they've really built around combat sports online, and really finding a way to bring all of that activity as close to the on-chain aspects of what makes this industry so exciting is kind of what our goal is, it's great to have these conversations everywhere. Karate Combat should be everywhere. But we want to find a way to bring a lot of that stuff that's on chain as close to the action as possible. And to Dave's point about the influencers, beyond it just being a great way for the user acquisition and the growth of the sport, I see it as a way to settle beef in the industry. I think it's a very, very real necessary checks and balance system that exists. Like, now people can't just say whatever they want because they like it. They're asking you, so to speak.
One thing about those influencer fights, you would have thought, people are just sitting behind their screens and they wouldn't be willing to get in the pit and actually throw hands. But I'm really impressed with how many people are willing to do that. Right, Dave?
It's shocking. It's really impressive. Like, a lot of people really back it up, and they're not doing it for like big dollars. They're doing it to get back in shape, to market their own projects, maybe a redemption arc, prove something to themselves. And yeah, it's really impressive how many people want to get in there, and people with big reputations on the line too, with something to lose if they lose.
No question about that. All right, so I am going to be one of the first members of this KC Social, this new world that we're building around Karate Combat. You know how much of a fan I am of this. It's an absolute blast. I'm already on all kinds of different social media, having conversations about the fights, analyzing them, trying to figure out which fighters I'm going to put my karate on. And this is going to be a hub where we can bring everybody in to do this. How are we going to kick this off, though, Solo? Are we going to be able to get people into this world to start it off?
Yeah, absolutely. People will be able to join very simply by going to KC Social directly, which will be super exciting. And there's also a little bit of a surprise there. You will actually be able to stream KC's the next KC event directly in the world, which will be super excited for an immersive experience. We're really trying to take Web3 social to the next level and challenge the entirety of the community. We want to talk about Web3 technologies, let's be about it, and actually start to use them. So we're super excited, just as simple as, signing up for the KC Social link that you see on social media, and get ready to get started and have a jam-packed, exciting time in there with a bunch of other DGens that love anything KC.
All right, and one thing that's exciting, first I want to figure out exactly when this next Karate Combat event is happening. Only LARPing, can you let us know?
Yes, it's very soon, November 14th, Karate Combat Kickback 3.
And that's going to be, the time frame for that is going to be a little bit different, especially for us in the U.S. What time is that actually going to be airing?
Very early in the morning if you're in the U.S. So I think 6 a.m. Eastern time.
That
is
works.
a long event, though. It is a long event, so.
I'll be up for it. I'll be engaging with everybody. But in the days leading up to this, we're going to do a little bit of a competition. We know how everybody likes to do analysis on these fights, figuring out where you're going to put your tokens, who's going to win, who's going to lose. And we're reaching out to the entire Karate Combat community to give us that analysis. You can do it in an infographic. You can just lay it out in a post in KC Social. You can, however you want to do it. You can do a video. The more engaging, the better. And Solo and I are going to look at all those, figure out which one is the best analysis, and whoever has the best analysis coming up for Kickback 3 is going to get their airfare and ticket to the next Karate Combat event at Karate Combat 51. And again, we're going to go on KC Social and we're going to engage with the entire crew, with whoever comes up with that best analysis. So I'm really looking forward to that. I want to know where I need to put my tokens. So the better analysis out there, that's exactly what I want to see. But before we let you guys go, I just want to get some final thoughts. Solo, I'm going to kick it to you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's been a pleasure being a part of this community for the longest time. We've been building for a number of years. We appreciate the patience for everybody. But, this project and the introduction of Worlds is for the rest of the community. We wanted to build we wanted to allow all the projects and all the people in Web3 to finally do something with those strong, diehard communities that they have and the beautiful crypto assets they have. We wanted to create a house to enclose all that stuff and allow these people to really mobilize and engage with them. So really excited, and it's an honor to be able to do this with the Karate Combat team to launch KC Social and really prove out, the viability of Web3 live in front of our eyes.
Well said. And I want to say, I want to get all the HBAR into this world, but I want to go beyond that. Only LARPing, what's the name for the fans for Karate Combat? Do we have a name for them yet?
Oh, that's a good, I've heard a few thrown around. I don't know. What do you think?
We're going to have to work on it. Maybe you can throw that in your analysis, anybody that wants to join this little bit of competition. But Only LARPing, I'm going to give you the last word here.
Well, thanks. We're super excited to launch this. It's going to be a blast. Thank you for both your help. Yeah, let's get it going.
All right. Sounds good. Guys, thank you so much for hopping on today.
Pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
I'm now posting these interviews of Hedera builders independently to my channel. The community, influencers, and media outlets are free to use this content to spread the word on what's being built on Hedera. Once they're all uploaded, you'll be able to go to my channel and search for whatever topic or team you're interested in to find more information. Or you'll be able to get the most recent Hedera news by watching the latest HBAR Weekly update. So check them out.